Hello everyone, this is Bob and Threadbare, and welcome back to Threadbare Reviews. For today's review, I've been left to my own devices, and so I've decided to review Galaxy Quest, a lighthearted spoof of Star Trek and other sci-fi TV shows that came out in 1999. The story about the story. The idea for Galaxy Quest first came to the screenwriter David Howard when he was watching a science documentary narrated by Leonard Nimoy. He thought about how shows like Star Trek can typecast an actor for the rest of their careers, and then wondered what would happen if aliens showed up and also typecast the actors. Mark Johnson, a producer with DreamWorks, liked the script's main idea, but not the text, so he had writer Bob Gordon create an entirely new script with the same premise. The director chosen for the project was Dean Parisot, an American director who started in television in the 90s and added some feature films to his resume starting in 1998. Incidentally, he also directed Bill and Ted Face the Music, which is coming out later this year. The cast list includes a lot of well-known names, including Tim Allen as the blowhard captain, Sigourney Weaver as the token woman on the bridge, Alan Rickman as the typecast alien sidekick, and Tony Shalhoub as the perpetually stoned chief engineer. The set and alien design for the film drew primarily from the original Star Trek, but other influences include Buck Rogers and Lost in Space. However, the film also upgraded a few things, like adding pneumatic lifts to the bridge set, so that when the ship gets hit, the actors don't just jump to one side, they are actually being thrown to one side. They also went all the way to Utah to film the classic alien desert scene, instead of just finding a good spot near Los Angeles. The film was cut down significantly by the studio to give it a family-friendly PG rating. Apparently, the original cut, while never really dark, was bloody enough to deserve an R rating. However, despite all of the editing attention, DreamWorks didn't do much in the way of marketing Galaxy Quest. And despite that, the film found its audience quickly and eventually got a box office return of $90.7 million on a $45 million budget. Critics enjoyed the film too, saying that it was good at both poking fun at the cheap effects and gimmicks of sci-fi TV shows, and at maintaining the positive message that these shows presented. But enough about what other people think, now it's my turn. The review. A group of actors for the old TV show Galaxy Quest attend a fan convention despite hating their obsessive fans, mostly because convention appearances are the only reliable income they can get. The only one who enjoys the conventions is Jason Nesmith, who plays the show's captain and loves the attention. However, it turns out that some of the show's fans are Thermians from the Klaatu Nebula, actual aliens who came across transmissions of the show thinking that it was real and used it to shape their whole society. This includes a perfect reconstruction of the ship, the NSEA Protector, based on in-show layouts and diagrams and their own highly advanced technology. Jason initially thinks that the Thermians are overly obsessed fans and part of a publicity stunt, but he eventually realizes that everything is real after he orders the Thermians to destroy the villain Ceres' ship. When the Thermians return, since Ceres didn't die, the whole cast goes with Jason this time, thinking that it's a regular appearance and that they don't want to get shut out again. They quickly realize that that's not the case, but Jason convinces them to stick around. Then they all find out that Ceres is a serious bad guy, but by then it's too late to go back. Ceres fires on the Protector, and while they manage to escape, they have to get a replacement beryllium sphere from a nearby planet. Several antics later, they get the sphere and rescue Jason from the hostile natives. In the meantime, Ceres boards the Protector and captures the crew. He's after the Omega-13 device, but nobody knows what it does, since the show got cancelled before it was used. Even the Thermians have no idea what they built. Jason admits to Ceres that he and the cast are actors rather than space heroes, and so Ceres has a laugh and tells his men to throw them out of an airlock. Fortunately, they manage to overpower their captors and then start taking back the ship. In the process, they contact some Galaxy Quest fans back on Earth and get them to provide technical support. Each of the crew has a moment to shine, and in the end, they use the Omega-13 device to rewind time and defeat Ceres. Afterwards, the humans crash land on Earth right into a Galaxy Quest convention and finish Ceres off on stage. The last thing we see is the start of a revival series, which may be related to the fact that humans now have undeniable proof of alien contact, and that aliens are fans of Galaxy Quest. First off, it must have been very interesting to be on the design team for this movie, since they had to create props and effects that were as realistic as possible, at least for 1999, and then combine them with sets and other props that are obviously cheap and poorly made. For instance, they went through a lot of effort to make Ceres' mouth fully articulate, and give his body prosthetic movable spines. But then Alan Rickman's alien headpiece is so cheap that you can see the seam on his forehead. This dichotomy is also present in the acting, which had to hit a very specific mix of over-the-top comedy, earnest drama, and alien stiltedness. And I have to say, they pulled it off well, partly because of the great casting. Tim Allen does not have to reach very far to play a self-centered actor with occasional moments of self-awareness. Alan Rickman was a Shakespearean actor before getting a bunch of simplistic villain roles after his move to Hollywood, and I imagine Sigourney Weaver has had trouble being taken seriously as an actress. One thing I like about this movie is that it keeps things just generic enough to stand in for a variety of sci-fi TV shows and not just Star Trek. You can definitely see the Star Trek influences, like the egotistic captain and the far more serious actor who plays the alien with all the catchphrases, but then there's stuff like the crawl space that's full of mashers for no good reason, an obstacle that was never in the original series. The costumes and sets also have a much more subdued color palette, even more subdued than the Next Generation. There's more to say, but that's for the analysis section. As for this one, I strongly recommend watching Galaxy Quest for yourself. It's funny whether or not you're a die-hard Star Trek fan, it has a positive message, and while the story wanders around a bit, it never gets completely sidetracked. The effects haven't aged all that well in the past 20 years, but considering the nature of the movie, that actually improves the film instead of diminishing it. So go ahead and give it a watch. The analysis. Something else I appreciate about Galaxy Quest is that the movie never delivers any low blows to the fans. The Thermians obviously represent fans who obsess over a TV show and at least to some degree confuse reality with fiction, but they also mention that the reason they care so much about Galaxy Quest is because the show turned their whole society around. It gave them purpose, it gave them values, it gave them heroes worth emulating, and it kept them away from a darker path that probably would have ended in their destruction. Compared to that, a little obsession really isn't all that terrible. As a matter of fact, this movie is all about fans and fandom. The main characters might be the actors, but fandom is the reason why everything happens. The Thermians construct the Defender because they're fans of Galaxy Quest, and they fill it with technology even they don't understand because the show inspired them. Ceres tries to wipe out the Thermians because he wants that technology. The actors are inspired to become the heroes they portray because of the trust and enthusiasm that the Thermians give them. And at the end, human fans help the actors prevent an engine core explosion and help them land relatively safely at that convention. So while the movie sometimes makes fun of fans in the way they can be naive and obsessive and can take a piece of fiction way too seriously, the message at its core is to be proud of being a fan. Because when you're a fan, that means you care deeply about something. And while that something might not matter much to other people, it matters to you. And isn't that true about everything people love? Not everyone cares as deeply about sports like soccer and baseball. Not everybody loves their country to the same degree, and people certainly don't love each other in identical ways. And ultimately, sports teams don't matter any more than fiction does. Nations rise and fall, and we're all going to die in the end. So why not spend your time enjoying a piece of fiction, especially if it teaches you important lessons, like why you should treat other people with respect, why friendship is important, and how science can improve your life. Fandom has an ugly side, and it has an annoying side, and it has a foolish side. But ultimately, it's better to accept or at least acknowledge these issues and enjoy something than it is to never enjoy anything. When you really enjoy something, you're going to look foolish to someone who doesn't share your opinion. But when you don't enjoy anything, assuming we're not talking about depression here, you're going to look foolish to everyone. And if you think that fans are stupid because of the type of thing they like, and not even because of the quality of the thing they like, then you've pointlessly closed your off to something that you might actually enjoy. So be a good fan. Enjoy your favorite obsession the way you want to enjoy it. Don't hate on others for having different opinions. Don't threaten or stalk creators, or anyone else really. And above all else, remember to have fun. Just not at anyone else's expense. Thanks for joining me again for today's Threadbare review, and I hope I'll see you next time. Until then, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and if you have a little extra money to spare, you can support me on Patreon. Link in the description.